Is Etsy worth it? Is it worth starting an Etsy shop in 2021? And what are the pros and cons of starting an Etsy shop anyway? Hi everyone, I'm Kim from the Eco Tree and I've been an Etsy seller for coming up to 14 years now. And today I thought I'd share with you what I believe to be the pros and cons of running an Etsy shop or even starting an Etsy shop right now. All right then, we'll start with the pros. 1, Etsy is so easy to use, and I mean so easy. You could finish watching this video, go onto Etsy and you could have a shop up and running within a few minutes. It's that simple. Etsy understand the importance of aesthetics and looking good and simplicity and being easy to navigate. So they've made it very, very easy, and it's a great website for that reason, not just for sellers, but also for buyers, and that's key. So yeah, first pro, it's easy to use. Okay, and pro number 2, it's got the lowest overheads and fees that I've found so far on the internet, and this is a big attraction to people who want to start selling their stuff. We will get into it a bit more later, because while I am including Etsy's lowest-ish fees as a pro, they also crop up again in the cons section. I'll talk about why when I get to that bit, so keep watching. But the reason why it's a pro as well is simply because when you compare the fees to other platforms, Etsy's fees are the lowest, making it the cheapest way for sellers to get started and sell their products. If you're watching this video, then I'm guessing that you already know a little bit about Etsy. So you'll probably already know that it only costs 20 cents to list an item. And when you sell something, Etsy take a cut of 5% of the overall price of the transaction, which includes postage. I will get into that later, as opposed to other platforms which will charge you higher fees and take a larger cut. I believe Amazon takes about 15%, and if you have your own website, you will often pay the platform a monthly amount, and that can be more than your cumulative fees for Etsy. So by and by, it does tend to be the cheapest platform out there to sell your handmade goods, which is why it is such a pull for sellers. Number 3, it has a lot of traffic. Etsy has a lot of traffic, and I believe the figure for 2020 was something like 2 million buyers or something like that. Anyway, it's a huge number, and they put a lot of money into advertising the platform. So if you ask most people if they've ever heard of Etsy, chances are they will have done, even if they've never actually bought from the platform. And that's a huge pro for you as a seller, because people trust the platform, they trust to buy things on the platform, and they know of it, and they're likely to go there. Pro 4, the analytics. They provide free analytics, and it gives you all sorts of insights as to how many people have viewed your shop, your items, the things that they've searched for, the phrases that they've searched for that's helped them stumble upon your shop. Obviously, there's how much you've made and a breakdown of your revenue, your conversion rate, so you don't even have to work that out. It tells you what your conversion rates are. And all of this is really helpful to figure out if you're on track with things like SEO. They help you tell if people are actually finding your shop and how they're finding your shop. And so it really does help you steer your shop in the right direction. So for me, the analytics are a definite pro. Number 5, wow, got to there quickly. The free promotional tools that Etsy offer are brilliant. So I'm not talking about Etsy paid ads, although that is a service that Etsy offers as well. I'm talking about the free promotional tools that they offer. You can run sales, which is pretty standard, and you can also offer coupon codes, and this is where I think it gets a little cool. You see, with coupon codes, you can send these codes as a thank you to customers who have already bought from you, so that it's basically to entice them to come back again as a returning customer, which is pretty cool. If anybody's, you can heart items on Etsy, and if anyone's hearted your item, you can send them a code. But also, if someone has stuck one of your items in their cart and has forgotten about it, you can send them a coupon code with some money off to try and entice them to finish the sales process off. A little word of warning about that one though. Some buyers are savvy to this, and they will purposefully put things in their cart and just wait and see if sellers send them a discount code, which is fair enough, let's be honest, we all like a deal. Just be aware of it, and if you want to send discount codes to people who have got things sat in their cart, then Etsy allows you to do that. So I think having that option there to use when you need it is great. And number 6, Etsy deals with VAT for you. Now, I trained as an accountant back in the day, and I stopped and created my business because it turns out I don't like accountancy. Not to offend any accountants watching, but I found it so boring. Which is why the thought of having to deal with VAT in multiple countries sends me into a bit of a spin. Thankfully, Etsy does it for you. Right, so if you're not sure what I'm talking about, many countries charge a tax called VAT, or value added tax. Although it can be known as other things too in other countries. So for example, it's known as GST in New Zealand, Australia and India, I believe, while in Canada it's known as QST. But here in the UK, we know it as VAT. And this is tax that is paid by the buyer when they make a purchase, not the seller. And what Etsy does is that it adds the VAT amount to your listing price, and when somebody buys your item, they will pay that VAT, and Etsy will collect up that VAT like a little financial squirrel and then pay it to the relevant authorities for you. Let's be honest, taxes and finances, it's never going to be a fun topic. Again, sorry, accountants. So the fact that Etsy does this for you is, for me at least, another huge pro. Well done, Etsy. Hello. That got your attention. If you're enjoying this video, please think about giving it a thumbs up because it really does help spread it out there to the masses on YouTube. And if you would like to see more videos like this, where I do talk more about business and I don't just offend accountants, then hit subscribe and you can join me. Back to the video. Okay, now for the not so good stuff. And strap yourselves in because it's about to get salty. Number 1, Etsy is saturated. There's no sugarcoating this, and I don't care what people say. Etsy is packed. It's crowded as heck, and getting noticed has never been as challenging as it is now. However, it isn't impossible. I just had to make it sound really, really bad because I think a lot of people go into this with rose-tinted spectacles on, and it's good just to curb your enthusiasm. That sounds really mean. I don't want to curb your enthusiasm. I want you to be enthusiastic, but I just want you to go in armed with the reality of it so that you don't get you don't land on your bum, basically, because nobody likes that. It's embarrassing and it hurts. Anyway, the days of being able to list your item and add some search tags and then sit back and watch the views roll in, unfortunately, have all gone. These days, we really have to work for it. And there isn't any one thing that I found that works perfectly. You have to use like 2 or 3 or 4 different things that all work together. And it's a constant job to find the things that work together, and you keep having to tweak them, and it's grr. Anyway, if you are prepared for that and you are prepared to do the work to make yourself stand out from your competitors and get seen in the crowd, be like, oi, my shop is here, come to me, then it's not going to be too bad. But yes, a definite con of Etsy is that it is a very crowded market these days. Number 2, the loss of shop identity. Oh man, this can be a big one for Etsy sellers, and I have been through my own period of grieving over this. Okay, so when someone buys something from your shop, the chances are, if they tell their friends about the thing that they bought, they're not going to say they got it from you. They're going to say they got it from Etsy. Just the way you or I might tell a friend that we bought something off of Amazon. Chances are, maybe we did buy it from Amazon because they do sell things, but also we may have got it from an Amazon marketplace seller. Nevertheless, we don't credit the shop with the sale, we credit Amazon, and that's what it's like on Etsy. So there is an element of losing your business identity on there. Which links nicely to con number 3. Yes, that is 3. Etsy suggests other people's shops on your shop, which is so annoying as a seller sometimes. It's annoying if you lose customers. I will get to this in a minute. Let's just go back. All right, okay. So you've done all of the work of getting your items to stand out in search, and you've attracted some, I can't say the word, prospective buyers, And that's great, right? Except that Etsy make things harder now by suggesting similar items to yours at the bottom of your listing. Thanks, Etsy, for that. So it is quite likely that you will do all of the work of attracting someone to your shop and lose that customer to someone else whom they found on your shop. Now, this is great if you're a buyer. It's great because you just know you've got all of the choices everywhere. Not so great if you're a seller though. Or is it? There is a bright side. Someone loses. If someone can make a sale by having their item suggested on your shop, the same goes for you, the other way around. You might make a sale from someone who saw your item on someone else's shop, and I know I have done. So it swings and roundabouts. You win some, you lose some, I suppose. What you've got to pay attention to is if you are losing more than you are gaining. If you're gaining a few, then that's great, because that means that the buyer is seeing items from other people's shops that are similar to yours, like what they're looking for, and they have specifically chosen yours. Good going. If, however, you're noticing that your item is attracting a lot of views, but it's not converting into sales, you might be losing people elsewhere, or they might just be clicking off altogether. That is something you will need to pay attention to. Okay, number 4. Etsy really pushes you to offer free shipping, whether you want to or not. Whether you can afford to or not, they like their free shipping. Can you tell that this is a bugbear of mine? Okay, so a few years ago, Etsy introduced a new policy, there's lots of them, and it stated that listings that offered free shipping would get a boost in search to listings that didn't. And what this did was it forced sellers to push the cost of postage into their listing price, which then obviously made it a lot higher. Otherwise, they would be forced to pay postage by themselves, which means they're making a loss. But I really personally didn't like the way that Etsy went about this. They, on the face of it, gave every seller the choice. It was up to us to opt in or opt out. But boy, did they make it. They encouraged everyone with a cattle prod to offer free shipping. I can see you, Etsy. I can see you. Perhaps we should move on. Con number 5. Fees are confusing. Okay, so I know I put fees in the pros section because they were low, and they are compared to everybody else. I would just like to say something about this. Etsy's fees are low, but Etsy's fees are numerous. And when you add them all up, they add up. Now, I did mention earlier that they break these fees down, and they do. I personally don't think they break it down in a way that is extremely simple. And I must admit, sometimes I go into the page and I see all these little fees that have been charged on various aspects to a transaction. And if you're selling multiple things, they will all be mixed up. And it's just a bit, But one day, I was a good little finance nerd, and I sat down and I tallied up all of the miscellaneous fees for one transaction. I'm getting cross again. I was quite shocked at how much it came up to and how little I made after everything. All right, this is the last one, I promise. Number 6, Etsy offsite ads. Now, this won't apply to the majority of you, especially if you're just starting out, because this applies to Etsy sellers who hit the $10,000 a year or more mark, basically. Once you've started making $10,000 or more in a year, Etsy may take your items and use them in offsite ads, which on the face of it sounds really, really good. They are advertising your items for you, except you don't get a say. You can't opt out of this. You don't get to choose what items they select or how many, and they take a sizable chunk as commission. This has caused a lot of upset, which I think is completely understandable. If you are going to use sellers' items to advertise Etsy and you're going to make a fair amount of money from it, you need to give those sellers more control. So After all that, is it worth starting an Etsy shop in 2021? This might come as a bit of a surprise. It's a business and it's making money. And we are using Etsy to make our own businesses and also to make money. Unfortunately, that's it in a nutshell. We, the sellers, are their customers. They make money from buyers, but they also make money from us. So there is an element of kind of like, okay, these are the pros, these are the cons. I'll learn to live with it. If you're starting an Etsy shop from scratch or you're in the early days, Etsy makes a lot of financial sense and they do so much. So it makes sense to at least start on Etsy. So what I would suggest to you is to see Etsy as a tool that you can use to build your business, but it shouldn't be the only one that you focus on. If you don't have a website, work towards building one up. Start an email mailing list. Build an audience somewhere that's kind of yours. I'm not talking about social media here like Instagram or Facebook, because again, that's still building something on someone else's ground. You have to try and think about building something away from Etsy that's yours. Or to put it another way, do not put all of your business eggs into the Etsy basket. And lastly, and I cannot say this enough, to succeed on Etsy, and you have to roll your sleeves up and do the work. If you can accept that there's work to be done, there's nothing stopping you. Let me know in the comments if this video was helpful to you. Hit subscribe and the like button. That's the thumbs up button. I'll see you next time. Bye. Not you, Etsy.